soft.
And that's our introduction. Larry singing Killing Me Softly. All right. Would one of us leaders like to open in prayer? Any volunteers?
I'll volunteer.
All right, Larry. No singing.
He looked like he was practicing.
You can praise, but no killing me softly.
Gracious God, we thank you for another good day, another day that we able to make it here and have some fun and learn some stuff. And I just thank you for all the people sitting around the table, for becoming like good friends and so on and learning from each other. I just thank you for the church here that we can meet and gather in, that we're still able to do this. Hopefully we're looking for your coming soon, Lord. And it's in your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Oh, look at our 360.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh. I'm so happy.
Beauteous, beauteous.
That was referred to in this week's or last week's chapter. I think it was last week's chapter. He even put it in the chapter. So we are beginning Mark Walker, chapter 14, the Law of BuyIn. All right, so I wrote up here on the board. Yeah, I don't know why this is here. As decorative and beautiful as it is.
It's very spacious.
Yeah, it takes up.
Okay, give us some more.
Andrew,
More
can you
space
hand
than
me a
12
pen or a
year-olds.
pencil out of there real quick and now I won't bug you anymore?
Now we know why.
It doesn't matter. Pencil's good, but
Well, I need to find one that has that has writing on the end.
That one's got a pumpkin, but that's not gonna help you.
You want the pumpkin one?
no.
That's a
this is
smiling
good.
pumpkin. That is the cutest pumpkin
Oh,
I've ever
actually,
seen.
yeah.
All right.
This is kind of a little chapter.
Yeah. It was a little
Short.
chapter.
Yeah, it's a little smaller.
Short.
Yeah,
I
short.
thought that it was quite an inclusive
was.
chapter.
Yeah. It's like
And the Law of BuyIn. Where did my notes go? Notes and words. I wrote on here buy in or sell out. So I don't know if any of y'all read that whenever you came in or not. I wrote it up on
I
the big
did read
whiteboard. So the reason that I wrote that was because this is kind of a switch. And here's what I mean by that. As a leader, your followers have either bought into you or they have not bought into you. There comes like a push comes to shove type of thing, and whenever you cast a vision, your followers, in whatever capacity they are either going to do what you have asked or not do what you have asked. And I loved the formula that he gave. And let's go to the metric here. Maybe my numbers braininess was going psycho, but page 173. Leader plus vision equals result. Don't buy into the leader, doesn't buy into the vision, get another leader. Don't buy into the leader, but buy into the vision, get another leader. Buy in to the leader, but don't like the vision, get another vision. Buy into both, get behind the leader. Does that make sense from the it's a switch perspective? So I put the sell out, not like, and that phrase is interesting because to buy in or sell out you would think is antitheses, but sometimes the phrase sell out means we have sold out, everybody has bought in to the program. Like if Maroon 5 is coming to sing in the city or whatever, they would sell out the tickets, probably. So yes, the court recognizes Donna Story's hand.
It says buy in to the leader, but don't buy in, get another vision. I don't understand, why would you buy into them and not buy into the vision?
So let's say that you were living in India and you believe that military violence was the key to success of getting what you want based on your own personal history. You would buy into Gandhi as the leader, as he went about in this chapter to describe that, but you would say, I don't believe that your tactics are going to work. So they buy into a certain level of, I respect you as a leader, but I don't respect your vision, and that's where other revolts happen. There were times, I don't know if y'all saw the movie Gandhi, we won a whole bunch of nominations and stuff, but that was my history class when I was learning about Gandhi, I was watching the movie. But there were still people, citizens of India, that led revolts in an active, violent way. but that's because they didn't agree with the vision at that time.
Okay.
I
Does
mean,
that make sense?
can I say something?
Yes.
Like on a small scale, like we were working on a brochure today, and we both believe in each other's vision. But every once in a while, we're like, I mean, we believe in each other. But every once in a while, like, I don't like that vision you just had for that brochure.
Yeah, even on the micro scale, which was actually my first question that I wanted to propose to the group. Gandhi may have been too lofty of an example. Yes, he was a man, just like any of us, but what he accomplished isn't necessarily something that we're probably going to strike out and accomplish in our lives. I mean, unless you really want to, you can.
At the time this was happening, Gandhi was fighting, I think it was Britain, Great Britain, had ruled India with an iron thumb
Mm-hmm.
for centuries. And there's a revolution between his way of thinking and the rule of Great Britain. So,
Yeah. So what are some smaller examples, like scaling down from Gandhi setting free an entire nation? What are some other examples that maybe come to mind for maybe your personal experience or maybe something just on a smaller scale? I was thinking of MLK Day recently, where the people bought into the young leader of Martin Luther before they bought into his tactics of nonviolence, which were very symbiotic almost to what Gandhi did. I don't want to say like it's smaller scale because it kind of is and kind of isn't. But if you think about everything that happened in the 60s with Martin Luther, that was pivotal, and he got a lot of his principles from Gandhi,
Mm-hmm.
tactically. Would you all agree?
Oh, yeah, you could pretty much see they kind of coincide with one another.
Mm-hmm.
I remember too, when I was younger, I was only 12 when all that happened. But I can remember he made a pretty big impact. It's almost like you were for him or you were against him. I can remember some of the old geezer, I ain't gonna tell you what I heard him say, but, and then other times, and it's funny though, after the fact, some of them old geezers changed their minds. You know, that time period was just so disruptive, even as a kid. I can remember Martin Luther King, I can remember Kent State, and then the Vietnam War stuff. And I was just
Kennedy getting
from 12 to
assassinated and all
14,
that.
Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, not
People
just
have
John Kennedy.
Woodstock.
Woodstock. You wonder no wonder I
That
turned
whole
out so
season
weird.
was just so weird.
It was
Like the
fraught with a
whole
lot of
country
tension.
went berserk.
He will say millennials are crazy. My God.
That's true. That's true.
I was thinking of NASA. NASA.
Well, and then you got people like
Did you
my
say
husband.
NASA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moon.
Yeah.
The moon
And
was
then-
even disruptive.
Well, and then the Beatles and the Rolling Stones on the Ed Sullivan show.
Elvis Presley.
Elvis. Well, he kind of come a little before then, but nonetheless, he was still around.
What is it?
I'm getting off
Let alone
track.
all the
Yeah,
drugs and
we are
everything
getting
that
off
came.
track, but it was still.
But you are still making points of everything that y'all noted was people were buying into the leader and then the vision. Just look at the Beatles. People bought into the leaders. Paul McCartney, right? I'm not a huge music buff.
Oh,
Remember
I
saying
mean, that's
Paul McCartney?
true. I remember when they were actually on Ed Sullivan.
Me
How
too.
old was I? Not very old, but they
A
were,
little
you know,
kid.
they were funny-looking characters, and they had those little 3 or 4
And all the
chord
kids,
songs. Yeah,
we
yeah,
couldn't
We
yeah.
have a strange
We love
phenomenon
you.
going on right now.
Yeah.
50% of America likes one leader, and 50%, 48 or 49% dislikes the leader.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a split country.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I
Well,
was
did
thinking the
Gary
same
finish?
thing.
Did you finish your thought, or is that?
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
But you take Trump,
Mhm.
whatever you can think of him, but it's funny how people think of the man
Mhm.
before his vision. Now,
Mhm.
if you weren't, I shouldn't say this, if you weren't some left-wing loon way out there, the dude's doing the economy good, he's making the military strong, he's making trade deals, it's almost like, and I think he's attentive and willing to listen to people, minorities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and he's making headway because you see the unemployment rate is coming down. But then you have the people that adamantly hate him,
Mhm.
and it's almost like just because they don't like him, they just don't
So
like
based
him.
on this chart, where are we at
I was wondering that, but I wasn't gonna ask.
With Tom, with Trump?
Yeah, I read that, and that was the first person I thought of.
Hold
I'm like,
on. Before we get too far off into Trump,
I'm
I'll
sorry.
I'll stay on there.
Date my daughter.
But I think
Jesus.
I think that, like you said, it is a split country. So like,
It's almost 50-50 according to all the polls and whatever station you listen to.
well, here's the thing that you brought up. People bought into Donald Trump first, then they buy into like everything else. And if you think about, yes, maybe. That's fine.
You know
but
what?
a lot of Christians didn't vote for Trump, didn't like Trump, didn't want to hear about his 5 wives, and then all of a sudden he got saved and had like during the campaign or something like that. Got him a lot of votes too. So like the people in his cabinet, I think, are Kenneth Copeland, Rick Warren, and then the Baptist pastor from Dallas.
Tony Evans?
No, not Tony Evans. It's the First Baptist Church of Dallas. Can't remember his name off the top. Jeffries.
Yeah, Jeffries.
Those are in his spiritual cabinet.
Yeah.
Right? Which those are some pretty diverse theologies if you think about it. But that aspect of people wanting to know Donald Trump had a spiritual side before they were kind of willing to get the conservative vote behind him. Because we weren't sure if he was going to run Democratic or Republican before the thing happened. He said, I'm going to president. And they were like, well, are you red, blue, yellow, or green? What's your choice here?
Well, that's the case where I didn't buy into him, but I bought into his vision.
I was looking at right
you know,
here.
That's what I
Yeah,
did too.
that's it.
So let's see.
I know
And
in
then,
the primary,
as
I didn't
time went
vote for
on,
He had to
him.
prove it.
Exactly.
He had
He had
exactly.
to buy
prove-
time.
Yes, he had to prove that he was gonna
To
do
prove
what
it,
he said he was gonna do,
Yeah.
cause
Yeah.
I just didn't like the other
And as far as
alternative.
religious liberty, he's done more than anybody on
Mhm.
religious liberty. So
That and protecting the unborn and,
Yeah.
those kind of
he
things.
just did a religious liberty, religious freedom bill that they've never done before.
You know, that's funny too. They had Jewish kids there, Christian kids, Muslim kids,
Mhm.
all, and he's just, it's religious liberty. I'm not trying to pick on any one person or
Well, those are
show
the 3 big
favor.
ones. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's huge.
anyway, I don't mean to take, go ahead.
All
I
right.
get to get off one.
That's a good example, though, really.
Well,
of
here's the
somebody
thing: is that if people do buy into your vision, I do believe that most of the time, especially in something like a presidential debate, we didn't instantly vote out Trump, but we couldn't until there was actually an election that was cast. So there was the campaign, which is time to earn credibility with the audience. What's the best way to earn credibility with an audience? Is to do a live presentation. That's why they go on campaigns, to travel to different places.
Because this book is
Old.
old, okay?
That's right, John Maxwell. It's old. You need to update it. It's 20 years old. It's not fresh anymore.
Today,
Over 20 years ago.
our newscasts like Brokaw,
Tom Brokaw?
yeah, and Cronkite and all. You never knew really what their beliefs were. They just reported the news. Okay, but can you be a leader in today when we have 24/7 news cycle, and you have newspapers and you have
Opinions.
TV and
Yeah.
radio that have an agenda to push? So it'd be twice as hard to be a leader to get your message across.
Especially if the media didn't particularly care for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's the value of new technology with Twitter.
Yeah.
He sends out whatever comes
Whatever
to his
comes
to
to
mind.
mind.
Who did it? Did you do that? Who did the tweet noise? I just heard somebody.
Me.
That was you. I was like, I heard it.
I think he's got 38 million people on his Twitter account. Well,
I feel like they need to take
no
that thing
leader
away
in
from him.
history has ever had access
It just,
Direct
I feel
access.
like
to
because
that
it's
amount
only
We can all agree
media.
on.
of
That's the only way
well,
of
at
getting.
least they should help
in
him
seconds.
be a little more
So,
appropriate.
it's crazy.
Maybe they should just
So
have somebody like
it-
tweet for him.
Yeah.
And then like if he
I'm
says
Like,
something
read-
crazy,
read
How
the
can you be a
verse
leader in the
words.
world
if he
we
says
have
something
today?
crazy, they'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna
Unless-
say
We're gonna
that.
do that.
Three
We're
is-
gonna say it this way.
Come
Right.
across. buy in, get behind the leader.
So this is obviously the success that we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
As leaders here, we want the followers to buy into us and to buy into the vision. But let's not get the cart in front of the horse, is pretty much the point of this
At the
chapter.
local level and in your business and in your social clubs, this is doable.
Mhm.
But on a grander scale, it's gotta be harder,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah.
Well, and it's
You know,
probably like that, a conflicting thing, even within a bigger company or something where, somebody's maybe been there for a long time, they don't like you and they don't like your vision, and then they have another group of people that's
I always
kinda
like this-
newer and they
there's a-
like
there's a
you and your
commercial on
company,
TV where there's a bunch of men and women in this law office, I think. And the beautiful young lady's getting there thinking she's gonna get the promotion. And they said, with great intrepidation, we're going to promote Michael to this. Have you seen that
I just
commercial?
saw it last
I
night.
feel like I've
first
heard
time.
of that.
And she's biting her lip and she comes across in the commercial and she's been the soldier, she's done everything.
Oh,
And
okay,
she's expecting this promotion.
okay.
And they promote Michael.
And
And then she gets
leaves.
on her cell phone and it says, request an interview. Somebody from,
Yeah.
Oh, was that from like
Indeed.
Indeed or something?
Indeed.
I remember that. Yeah.
It's that happens all the time
It
in the
does.
business world.
So look at it from this perspective. With Luke chapter 16, verse 10, it says, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least, unjust also in much." So the reason that I bring that up is if you look at like Martin Luther and what he did, he was faithfully leading a congregation of about 120 people for a couple years first. And then
What's the
before that, what?
What's the verse? Luke what?
16:10.
Okay.
If you look at Donald Trump running businesses for a long time and talking about being the president forever. I mean, how many times on David Letterman did he say, "I'm thinking about running for office"?
Gosh, I remember him talking even on Oprah Winfrey 20 years ago. Seriously.
Exactly. So, do you think he was planning that in his heart, at least? Yeah, because there's preparation needed on the front end. So, with where we're at today, how can you, Larry, lead a team of 5 people, 3 people, and then train them up to them to go disciple more, right? As a Christian, as a community man, in whatever capacity it is that we're doing, what you've done with the girls in the summer and training them up, it's not just for them to.
One of the most devastating things as a leader is when you do build a good team and somebody has to leave the team. And you're the leader and you've invested so much in you. I mean, really, really hard, or you. And then the team is just kicking on all cylinders. And you want to start your own business, or you want to start your own association. And it's like the leader has to start all over and replace that person. And that is hard on a leader.
It is if it isn't planned for. It is, but you have to plan for that because humans are always going to want to grow, especially if you have a really good team. There's that phrase of enjoy the seasons of life where they do come and go, the good and the bad. So like when you've got a really good team going, something good, you're like, okay, if this person, God forbid, got hit by a bus, how soon could I replace them with somebody else or help be training somebody else in that? Similar to your company, your industry, right? So what was, and I'm going to pick on you for a little bit because I know your industry and I love it.
Really?
So if you look at like Matt Maher, is that his last name?
Matt Morris?
Matt Morris, right?
Yeah.
He's a leader,
Yeah.
right? Tens of thousands of people go to hear this guy speak.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah. So for you, for your upline, your mentor, who was the leader that you first bought into in that aspect? Can you think back to that point?
Yeah, okay, so when I first kind of got active with it, it was a guy here that he went to my church and he invited me to like a bowling alley, come check it out. I'm gonna go like talk about it because I was already in because my mom signed me up. And I was just like, okay, it's something my mom doing. She was like, Mary Kay won a car, so I was like, all right, she's not gonna do anything crazy. So I did that, but I just sat on it. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to like get started with, it, but I didn't know like what to do. And I tried to call the dude before, but like he didn't really answer. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll just sit on it some more. Then like he hit me up one day and was like, hey, come to the bowling alley or whatever, so we can like talk about this. And I'm like, okay. So I did. So I bought into like that, That was like the first person, I guess, so that's the first person I bought into. But it's crazy, cause like as time goes on, like you go to like different events, cause like I didn't go to an event or anything, so really like the first big vision that I bought into was a guy named Jonathan Gooch, and he was like a pastor, a former pastor, and his church had like left him though, and he had like lost his job, lost his business. He just had, his story was just really good. I could like relate to him because he was like a more humble dude, and like he had a lot of success, and he was in the church and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
And our personalities are kind of similar, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
he was like, what if like your phone call could like help somebody, like could like save somebody's marriage, or like could help somebody stop themselves from like killing themselves or something like that. And I was like, bruh, like it's like this is like something that's like way bigger than me, you know what I'm saying? So like when I got that big buy-in there. I got a little one with the first guy, but like I got a big one there, yeah.
Okay. So there was that tandem at the event. You saw a leader that you respected, and a vision of something that you could become as well.
Yeah, and I didn't even like really know him all like that. Like I gained more respect as I just like told the story for him, you know.
Yeah. So like I think that's a perfect example of how you can become that same leader. You as the influencer in whatever capacities that you're doing. Was that too vague, his story? Because I totally understand his experience because I've had a similar one. Debbie got it.
I got it. Did you get it?
Yeah, I guess so, sure. It's like a two-stage thing. One guy didn't, and then the second guy really helped you out more.
Yeah. Okay.
No? Am I thinking wrong?
I mean,
No? I don't think.
You're pretty much on it. Like you get it.
Okay, so I want you to think about, I'm going to set a timer for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, I want
So
each,
quick.
1 minute. I mean, however you want to cut it. I can throw an extra 30 seconds in there, but you won't need long for this. I want everyone here to think about, and kind of like you just gave an example, so thank you for that. Whose vision have you bought into that changed your life? So go all the way back to birth and think about your whole life. You got a lot of content, some of you not as much. All right, leaders are dealers in hope. Hope can only exist if there is trust. That was just a little quote I wanted to leave you with while you're thinking about it. Timer has begun. Three, 2, 1.
That's one of my alarms. Like to wake up.
So, we'll just go around in a circle. You can go first. We'll skip you because you already did it, unless you want to do another one. That's
Nah,
cool too.
it's all good.
Okay, so you're first.
Okay, so like a younger one was it was conjunction. It was 2 different sermons that happened, and so one of them was Pastor Don Davies, my uncle, and the other one was Craig, and it was both about people who are new to the church, and they basically said sometimes people come to church who are new and nobody like talks with them, and I think that was my Uncle Don. And then Craig was saying like, you know, people walk through the halls and sometimes people don't even make eye contact with the people. And so as a, you know, whatever I was, 10-year-old kid, I thought, I'll buy into that. And so, yeah, so I made it my goal to try to meet all the new people and look at them and shake their hand. And I remember as a kid, sometimes I'd run up and I'd shake the person's hand and meet them, and they actually wouldn't say anything. I think they were so shocked that a kid did that. But that's a vision I totally bought into, completely changed my life. And then, of course, I bought into his vision for our life. So I bought into that.
That's a good one. There you go.
So for life and also for our company and all of that. So
That's MultiLevel Marketing.
All of it.
That's good.
Probably
Jesus might probably, because he,
This isn't Sunday school Sunday, but it counts. It counts.
She's like, are you kidding me?
Come on.
I
God.
mean, really, if it wasn't for him,
Share.
I wouldn't be breathing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would be totally dead.
So how did you meet him, and how did his vision in your life
Well, I
change?
met him at a thing for church kids when me and my husband were totally stoned and high on,
story.
huh?
I remember this story.
High on a bunch of stuff, and we went in there and they're talking about rock music and all this junk, and we just went there to make fun of them.
Because then you say, you're like, oh, all those bands are our favorite bands.
We love those
Yeah,
guys.
I mean, those kids probably didn't know all those records. We did. We had stacks of them at home, you know. And it was just really hysterical. I mean, how you could go in there totally stoned like that and leave white faced, like drained, stone straight, you know, thing, and then have the power to be able to still affect your choices on a daily basis, you know. It's like, I really want to do this, but yeah, Jesus, you're telling me no. You know, I mean, just attitudes and just stuff, you know. And the thing is, you're never going to be at a place, at least I don't think so, where you're going to stop getting this change and believing in his vision for who you should be and how you should behave, and you know, and it's just a continuous thing. So
I love it. I love it, Donna.
Donna, did you buy into Jesus too?
Actually, I did when I was 6. In the Catholic Church, you go through First Communion and
Oh yeah.
different things of the sacraments that you go through. And at 6 years old, I was more tickled to death than anybody else to get communion, because at that point, I knew there was something more to God than what was out there. Of course.
Now, I want to hear this story, but did she lead you down a path? Was that what you were going to share?
I wasn't trying to mislead you.
Were you,
I was-
what was your 1 minute long thing?
That it was.
It was
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay.
No, I knew I knew what she was doing.
Okay.
But that's where I learned, you know, I truly, and I probably shouldn't say this, Lord, but I'm sorry. I despise the Catholic Church. I do with a passion, because they misrepresent Christ. They teach you that you pray to other people. They say, pray to Mary,
Pray to the saints.
pray to the saints. I mean, how many times was I in church? Every
What church
year.
you go to?
I used to go to Our Lady of Victory in Talmadge.
Oh, okay. I went to St. Mary's for grade school.
St. Mary.
Right down there in Akron?
Yeah.
Oh,
Thornton.
wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was in that
I'm-
church a number of times.
I've been in Catholic school my whole life. I was never Catholic.
Oh,
My
I
grandpa
love the
was a-
Catholic school. I
My
had
grandpa was a
one.
Knight of Columbus.
But
There you go.
Yeah, bro.
you know, they're taking all my friends and family and leading them down the wrong road, and I don't know what's going to happen to them. The other was when I got older, what to do with my life after high school, because I was a crappy student. I truly was. I came in the bottom third of my high school class. So, and knowing that we have Grandpa, Dad, Paul, myself, we have 5 generations that have hit the military. That's where I went, because of knowing what the military brings, what it can do, and knowing I could go do what I wanted to do without having the rigmarole of the regular civilian job.
So was there a leader of some kind? Was it your dad who helped and hey, military's the road, and
Who'd
you
you
bought
buy
into that
into?
vision?
I don't think it was my dad. Well, no, my dad couldn't talk at that point. That's a really good question. I think maybe it was the whole arena of being in the military and knowing, you know, that when you're 18, actually when I was 17, but you can be 17, 18, sign up for the military, get your ID card, go on base, you can go to the non-commissioned officers' places, you can get in, you can buy beer, you can buy whatever you wanted. So I thought that was the cool side. And on
That was the vision. Free beer. No, I'm kidding.
right there. No, but it was the things that you could do in the military. At that age, I couldn't go out and buy a handgun and legally wear it. 18 years old, I'm walking the streets with a 45 or a 38 and being able to do what I needed to do. So I the whole thing of the military in and of itself has good
Perks.
morals and things like that.
Okay, great. Larry?
You know, when I was younger, I had 3 brothers and a sister, and mom and dad worked 2 jobs, so I didn't, you know, I was just, not to get in too much, but I was just kind of going with the flow. And then, once I got into high school, and I went to Hoban, so I kind of went out of the neighborhood, more people around, I had an older brother, and I guess I was influenced by them. I know this might sound funny, I remember listening to music. And I remember listening to some musicians and would hit me more than others. Briefly, the Beatles were okay, but they just had a little top 40 hits, okay. I listened to them, but I didn't really care that much. And then I started listening, now this is like I was in the 9th or 10th grade. Neil Young, you know, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. When he came out as a solo artist, and he would have songs like, don't let it bring you down, it's only castles burning. Find someone who's turning, and you will come around. And I thought, as a 9th or 10th grader, wow, you know, it made me think. And stuff like that, I would think music made me think about, I don't know if you want to call it spiritual things, but things that was deeper than just ramming around as a 14 or 15-year-old. And then as I got older and this and that and the other thing, but then my next big thing, if you will, is when I met Debbie. And she had 2 little boys. And I thought, if I'm going to be with this woman, I got to get some type of direction. I mean, because I was just freewheeling. You know, you want to do this? Sure, Stuart, let's go. Okay, man. What do you think about that? Not much. How's it affect me?
Didn't hook it up
Nothing.
with all that.
You know what I mean? So that was just my attitude until I met
Maybe you were
Debbie.
listening to Leonard Skinner.
Well,
Freebird.
Yeah, there you go. And then, make a long story short, she says we go to church, a Catholic church. We went to Akron Chapel, and I remember the first time we went, and not the first time, but the one time when we start hearing Newt Larson, he was like the big pastor there. Get your Bible out. Gosh, I never had my own Bible in my life. So I got one. Somebody gave it to me at first just to use. And he's going through things, and it was like the sun coming up over the horizon. Boom! All the music that I heard, da-da-da-da-da, this is where it all came from. This is where it culminates. Every good and perfect gift comes from above.
Yeah, even.
And then, all of a sudden, that was my life, and it took off from there, and here I am today.
All right.
That's all I can say. That sums it up in 2 minutes.
That's good, man.
We need to tell Jeff McElhead, because he's doing those video testimonies. That would be great. You got it all down, man.
Yeah.
We don't have the video, we should turn it on you, and then we would have been good.
Yeah, we could have had it right there. Flipped it up.
If you need to rehear it, we haven't.
Well, that was my first answer was Jesus, because I didn't come to the Lord until I
Oh
was
man, I didn't even think of
38.
Jesus.
So
Heathen.
when you don't come to the Lord till like late in life, you know, you've got a lot of things that
How
you've
old were
already
you
been
then?
through. 38.
38.
So, and it was right before Larry and I started dating.
Mm.
So obviously that was something I could buy into, and it took off from there. But a more recent thing, when I think of a leader on a smaller scale, was the Portage County Tea Party, because that was 10 years ago, and Tom Zawistowski is his name. He was just a guy like sitting around this table, and he had a vision about we have to do something. And he had a meeting right there on the Portage County Courthouse
In
lawn
Ravenna there.
in Ravenna, and just put it out there like I don't even know how. I mean, it was just word of mouth. And all these people showed up. And he's just had a vision ever since. And there's like 2,800 members, you know. So he still has it. He's still leading us. And we all buy in because we believe in it.
You know, real
but
quick,
we believe in him.
when we were there afterwards, I went up and I thought, this guy's got to be from somewhere. He's got to be somebody else. So I asked him, hey, I'm just from Summit County, barely out of Portage County. I just thought I'd get this together. And I was just amazed by this guy thinking, wow, you're nobody, but the next guy lives next door. But he had a vision and he went with it. So anyway.
Yeah. Gary?
I had no leaders in my life until about age 35.
Okay.
And I put together a personal manifesto on what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be, and how to get there. And I've chosen to watch 5 or 6 people that I respect, and then not one of them knows that what I gathered from each one of those. But the hardest thing for me was being a type A personality, and an A and D and an I is the steps that I had to do all on my own.
Yeah.
Because I had nobody. So I've decided to be a coach and a mentor, teach what I didn't have. And so I recommend everybody to try to do that to somebody in their life. It's just so refreshing.
It is, indeed. Well, thank you. Oh, am I gonna go too? I'll sit down. It's my turn. I thought of 2. I was gonna go with my network marketing leader when I was in business, but it wasn't actually my upline. It was a crossline guy, and he was 65-ish. So he was a hard man, but he was soft at the same time, kind of like a velvet brick, if you will. Something that's like you can come to, but also has rock solid truth. And he was a veteran, had an amazing story. He was actually a boxing champion in the United States Army whenever he served. And I bought into him because, and then I bought into my own vision of running an Amway business because he designed it and shared that as the lifestyle that he designed. He was financially independent through that company. So I was like, well, you know, I respect him. He had 8 kids that he homeschooled, and he was a grandfather at the time, still is a grandfather now. And so that was somebody that, like, it wasn't, I had respect for the people that brought me into business, but they weren't as moral. They didn't have the character or the solid ground that I could really buy into. I knew that they were younger in their faith. They were saved, but they had a lot of contamination before they got saved. So they were still making good choices, becoming more purified through the sanctification process. They just weren't as far along because they weren't raised in the church. So the other one that came to mind was actually my football coach. And his name was Bruce Colley, still is. But it's in past tense, but it was Bruce Colley. And he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion. And so he had those credentials, which was nice. He had 11 of his own kids that he homeschooled, and they all ran his own business with him. So from the aspect of, 11 of his own kids, 1 woman, football player, big
whole team
guy,
right there.
6'4", and
Taking over the world.
I was at a stage in my life, I was 15, 16 years old, maybe 17. No, I was older than that. I was 17 or 18, and I was deciding, am I going to play another year of football or graduate early, as we do in the homeschool world, and move on past high school? And I was like, well, I really want this guy's mentorship because of what he's achieved in life. I chose to play another year of football, even though we had won the state championship the year before, and life was good and gravy sauce and fun. I wanted to see how he did life, so I didn't just play football for him. I also got a job working at his pizzeria, so I could watch what life was like at that. And I learned so much under his leadership, and help with the vision of being a man, owning life, and doing that really well. So that was something that came to mind here. Now, in all the stories that we just shared with each other, I've noticed that this chapter particularly can kind of be related to a lot of the other chapters. So the law of the inner circle, the person that you are close to, that you trusted, right? Debbie, you trusted somebody enough to meet Tom, to actually go to it. Probably wasn't just like a random one-off event. So, there with your story, and listening to music, or going with Debbie to the church to hear lute. What was his name again?
Newt Larson.
Newt
First
Larson.
name.
There, threw his names together.
Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah, and you go into the bowling alley guy, right?
Mhm.
He was, and your mom, probably in your circle. So, okay, then we got the law of connection. You can't clean a fish until you connect with it, until you catch it, right? The law of respect. What other laws did y'all pop out that we've gone over past tense? Did any
Well,
of
the
those jump out to you?
picture, because the person we're following is painting the picture.
Has a vision, yeah.
Right.
I think I'll write
Well, they
some
are
down.
embodying the picture.
Embodying it,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. Yeah.
So picture.
Mhm.
Shout out some other ones, y'all.
Context.
Magnetism.
Magnetism.
go,
Have we
that's
done that one yet?
Connection.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, like solid ground, I think that's what it's called, where the
Solid
respect.
ground.
Navigation.
Intuition.
Respect.
Respect, yeah.
Yeah, respect. There you go.
Intuition. Why do you say intuition, John?
I don't know. I'm really just calling them out, but
I'm just
I
saying
mean, but
words.
really though, you could say intuition because you use your intuition to
Oh, there's
pick who you're gonna listen to.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Navigation, honey.
Law of influence.
Influence. Why influence, Debbie?
Well, because
Some
it's
good
a,
glue there.
a vision and you look at this person, you kind of, you know,
Yeah.
from the moment you hear someone speak or read their, you know,
Mhm.
their words or listen to them, you know, you're being influenced by their,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
They're being
Yeah,
they're
whatever.
influencing you. Yo.
The law of process.
Process.
Yeah.
You know, the one where it says intuition, it says depends on so much more than just the facts. Communication is intuitive for me. It's one of my greatest strengths.
Mm-hmm. So the law of respect on page 81. You don't have to go to there, but I'll just read to you. Dennis says, one measure of leadership is the caliber of people who choose to follow you. Very similar to what he's talking about with the vision and then the caliber of people that follow you. Because you could be like a level 3, and you'll have 1s and 2s that are following you. On the other page of respect, it has like all the, remember this picture? With all the people that are going everywhere? And then there was another one, 78. Oh yeah, I love this story. We went over it already, but I remember hearing a story that shows how people come to follow strong leaders. John Wooden's basketball player wouldn't shave his beard, and then Walton, attempting to assert his independence, said that he would not shave off his beard. Wooden's no-nonsense response was, "We'll miss you, Bill." Needless to say, he shaved the beard. So going into a leader whose vision was bigger than just that independent person, I saw a lot of overlap. I pulled up another one on 69. It was about McNamara. Oh yeah, thinking about the split of politics today, a lot of it was found in that era, where the era that had begun with the hope and ideal characterized by John F. Kennedy ultimately ended with the mistrust and cynicism associated with Richard Nixon.
Oh, yeah.
That was because they broke the law of solid ground.
Oh yeah. They
Yeah.
broke the law too.
They what?
And they broke the law.
They broke the law and the law of solid.
Two.
One of my favorite ones was the law of influence, Mother Teresa.
Mhm.
You know, people bought into her because of how she served and how she led and how she added value, the law of adding value. Like, totally. And my favorite one was the law of the lid, because leadership's ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. You as the leader, whatever vision you cast, you have to be willing to live up to it. You have to be, you are the lid on that organization. So if you cast a grand vision, they have to trust you to get it done.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
On 171, it says, people don't at first follow worthy causes. They follow worthy leaders who promote causes they can believe in. This chapter, knowing I think out of the box, guys, to me it contradicts itself. I mean, we all have something that we believe in, and we look for somebody who is doing it. You know, I think of my military vets that I know. I think of stroke patients because of my dad, cancer, me, all these things. They're causes that I've thought of before I looked to a person that was a leader. So to me, this kind of contradicts itself.
Okay. So I think it was on that same page that he said the leader finds the dream, and then the people.
Right.
And the people find the leader, then the dream. So when you're looking at it from like a cause thing, we all have different causes. But typically every cause, if you boil it down, is a relationship cause of some kind, right? Even if you're an American, you're proud to be an American because you were born American. So your relationship to your mom or dad causes you to have that feeling. So they might be the leader that helped instill that vision into you. You are an American. If you were raised in American soil, but your parents always told you you're a Nazi, you wouldn't know any different. So from the aspect of having that relationship or that leadership that you can go into, and I'm kind of playing the devil's advocate to battle you a little bit. I want to hear more about why you see it from that way. But I think if you boil down most of the causes that we want, like for you in cancer, your experience with that. So that was your experience, which makes it a cause for you. But the leader came first still. Does that make sense? Or do you disagree?
I think there's, like I think that the causes just come first. To me, I don't see, I don't know, maybe it's because of my military background and the military things, and what I believe in, like I believe we should have a wall up around our country. They built a wall around Jericho. Granted, he took it down, but God told him to build that wall.
Mm-hmm.
And
so did you want a wall before Trump said, I want to build a wall?
I would have always wanted a wall.
Okay.
It's kind of like protection. I mean, who's not going to protect their own property or lock your front door in these days? You're going to leave your front door wide open?
We used to be able to do that,
I
but
hope
I mean,
people won't break in, but anymore, how can you trust them?
but we all have some type of cause to begin with. But with the investment that I've had to make in cancer, and that's just furthered it along. The cause was there, but the personal experience just pushed it further down.
So
That makes sense?
Yes, so read that first part of the sentence and then identify yourself in the sentence.
I don't understand it.
The leader finds the dream, then the people. So Donna, you found the vision of building the wall. And I have this weird belief that I haven't, and I don't know if I ever will be able to verify it, but I've listened to different albums and music over the years of different people in different categories. So let's take Christian music, for example. It seems as though Skillet, Switchfoot, and Casting Crowns will all come out with an album titled Rise or Rise Up. It's like, were y'all all talking and like trying to do the same title? Couldn't you space them out over a couple years at least, not release them in the same 3 months? So it seems to me as though God actually like gives that vision to multiple people, and people either will accomplish it on a smaller scale or on a larger scale. So you got Donald Trump on a very large scale with the wall, you on a smaller scale, but that leadership vision for you means that you bought in what somebody was doing it, because you weren't going to go down and build the wall yourself, right?
Don't tempt me someday.
I got some friends in Texas and Mexico if you want to hire them.
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't
you're
know.
in Arizona.
I just feel it contradict this particular chapter. It just contradicts itself, and I can't explain.
Does
to
it
you why.
contradict itself, or does it contradict what you think is true? Because it could just contradict what you think is true.
Maybe it's half and half of that.
Uh-huh.
Because if you're the leader, the vision comes first. The cause comes first. Then you, the leader, buy into the vision that you had. I almost started off this talk this way, but when somebody says, I've got an idea, that's the beginning point of leadership. I've got a vision, I got an idea, I have a thought that needs to get put into practice. And as the leader, Donna, you have a thought of starting soccer clinic here. You start with that thought, and that's the cause that draws you because you are a leader. But it's accomplishing that makes it so. Right? It's not just the thought. We have great thinkers and philosophers. The leadership is enacting that. And that's where you have partnerships, where you have a leadership team come around. So what you're saying is true. And that sentence is the contradiction. The leader finds the vision, and then the followers find the leader, then the vision. Does that make sense? Does that maybe help explain the chapter better?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're looking at it from the viewpoint of a follower right now, or before this conversation, where you're like, oh no, I have my causes first before I find the leader. Well, that's because you are the leader. And so you're look at it through the lens of being the leader.
Okay.
And then you find the cause, and then you need to go recruit people to buy into that, to buy into you and the vision.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A leader is a great leader is a multi-level marketer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was telling
It's true though.
I was telling Debbie.
Can you elaborate on that point?
Yeah.
Because I understand what you mean. I don't think everybody else maybe
I
understands.
get it.
But I want to get it deeper because when you're talking about multiple level marketing,
And in the world we're at today, a lot of companies, there's a lot of independent contractors, a lot of people in a small business. The leader has the vision, the desire, and that. So he leads by setting the tone, the vision, and then he finds followers, men or women, to come along to match up with his cause and his vision, or her vision, okay? And then they then find other people like the Tea Party. And that's how these causes grow around a leader. Somebody has to be the ramrod, the starter of a project, association, a business. And then they have to find like-minded people with same vision, same tone, similar attitudes, and then the leader empowers you to come alongside of him or her and take the next step, and then you start to build a team within a team. And then somewhere along the line, the leader says, Cindy, why don't you start your own team? I'll support you, or our team will support you. And so, what people don't understand multi-layer. I think your industry, your side industry, and what you guys are doing is similar to that.
Yeah.
And the last industry I came from, the insurance business, it was a rah team thing. And
Yeah, people love a good team,
Yeah.
especially the eyes. You were saying something.
Oh, they're probably way off the track, but we keep talking about leaders and this and that, and I think of the guy that did the My Pillow thing. Have you ever seen
I
him
remember
on
him.
TV, etc.?
Unfortunately.
He is like, you talk. I mean, he's a character, man. He's like a guy out of control, but he's in control. But I just thought, you know, it'd be neat to pin him down and
He
somebody.
helps
has
people have visions. And
Yeah.
I was
I
gonna
mean,
say, he certainly had a vision.
they have
Yeah.
dreams of him. Anyways,
That's
so
hilarious.
you're saying that he's a good influencer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even listening to him talking, one time he was on a TV show for, I don't know, half an hour explaining his whole story. And gosh, when you were done, you just wanted to go get a job at the My Pillow place.
But you know what? But from a telemarketing standpoint, you know why he did as good as he did? Because his products are made in America, and more Americans want more products that are made here.
Especially during this season of the world. Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's kind of like going along. You got to like the leader before you like his vision. I mean, what's there not to like about him? He's friendly, like
His
you say,
mustache,
He's
that's
from
what I don't
America. It's like, wow, I'm going to listen to this
Blue
guy right
silk
off the
shirt.
bat.
Blue silk shirt. Okay, so maybe this visual would help. I kind of thought of it right now, so it's not bulletproof. The follower finds the leader after the leader has found the vision. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is that helpful, Donna?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So we've got a minute or two more to wrap up. You seem like you're gasping. You're ready to say it.
I have
Say
to
it, Cindy.
Go to the restroom.
Okay. All right.
Well, I was just gonna say also that whole thing really there has to be something happening in the world, either in your small little space or in the country or your whatever, in your space somehow for that leader. There's a problem or something that they could see better, and it has to be affecting a lot of other people for other people to buy into the solution.
they have to have something that you can identify with.
Yeah. For instance,
You
the
have to make
Tea
it
Party
personal.
would have never flown if it would have tried to launch itself 5 years earlier.
Nope. So wouldn't.
I was thinking about when you guys
I
were
don't
talking
think
about, like, as far as, like, vision and how you bought into God's vision. And there was a quote that, well, I think it's from one of the guys I listened to, Christian guy. But he says, like, a lot of times people are like, where is God not? Like, you know, where do people not have their ministry or whatever? Where is God not? And I need to go there. As opposed to saying, where is God already moving and I want to join that? And sometimes it's like, you know, God has a vision, like, let's join that, as opposed to, like, we gotta do our own little thing. So, I don't know if that was contributing. I thought it was good, but
I like the thought, but I guess I think both of them are valuable because I want to go preach the gospel where nobody's heard it before versus just growing that which
well,
already
it would
exists.
depend upon
So
different circumstances.
I was being
I'm not
semantic.
saying don't go, okay, well, never mind. Take it for whatever parts it's good for.
All right.
Did anyone do the answer the first question? It's like, do you have a vision for your leadership or your organization? And it said, did any of you actually come up with a vision statement at the end of this chapter?
Like writing down your thoughts and creating a vision statement?
Yeah,
No, I did not do that. Anybody else do that?
I did.
Okay. Do you want to read it?
To help people to see who Jesus Christ is and why do we need him.
Beautiful. So who are some of your followers?
And that's as far as I got. I don't think I have any.
But you are a leader, and it starts with leading yourself, and you're doing a great job of that. So by doing that and having that vision, every person you meet is a potential influencee. Somebody that you can influence, which means they are a follower to some extent. I wanted to like hover over the thought of whenever the last 2 pages, 75, 76, and I guess 77, 177, was that if you think about Jesus' ministry, he began his ministry with getting baptized by John, Holy Spirit baptism thing, and then God talking, and then, you know, he was working miracles after that. He read the scroll in the synagogue, but he didn't like come out and be like, I am the Christ right now. He started off by reading that saying that's fulfilled. He was kind of vague in that. He was kind of saying I'm somebody without being like I am somebody. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
He did a soft launch. Then he started to build up a group of followers by saying, hey, Matthew, come follow me. Hey, Peter, come follow me. You know, Andrew, come follow me. John, sons of Zebedee, let's go. And then he started to get that culture. And he had up to, I think it was 170 disciples at one point before he said, if you're unwilling to take up your cross and follow me, deny yourself and follow me, you're unworthy to be my disciple. And then he whittled it down to a lot less people because he was looking for the people that really bought into him and his vision for their life, which was crucifixion. And all of them died, except for John, by martyrdom of some sort. So he had that accurately. So I just thought it was interesting. And then later, he announced, you know, I am God, in his own words. Does that make sense? I just really thought Jesus was a great example of the law of BuyIn. But if you think about Jesus, how many people were like, isn't this Joseph and Mary's son? You know, like the guy next door, Tom? Similarly, people said that about Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't let that affect him. He went and did his mission. He led. He had his vision. And he went about doing it.
And the people that thought more like that were the people that were around him, so his own community. Our own communities oftentimes fail us.
Yes.
Our immediate clan.
Mhm.
I mean, they don't really, you know, oftentimes they do. And it's other people who are better at seeing your vision and your dream.
Yeah.
That's true.
You have to be careful, like, who you share your vision and dream with, you know? So it gets squashed.
Absolutely. Well, I just wanted to kind of end on that note. As far as the extra things or the application, because that was one of the things that we all signed was applying this to our life. Let me see here. If your team is smallest, it is more unique because, like you've said many times, Gary, we're all kind of in our own industry, right? So like you with your Walt's company and Donna doing telemarketing and Larry Tea Party and Good News Club stuff and Debbie's a
Like
gangster.
school board,
I
Jim.
mean, so think about how you could apply this week to your life. I'm thinking about investors, right? With my tech startup company, this is very crucial that I can do what y'all said in the last couple minutes about you have to make it personal. And I thought about 2 avenues. Like you said, it has to affect a whole bunch of people, or, and I said it out loud, but I don't know if y'all heard me, it has to affect few people deeply, right? So like, I don't know, if I had, if I knew somebody who had burns, they were at the BICU, the Burn Intensive Care Unit, then I would have a deep care about one of my good friends having burn problems and looking for a solution to help heal their skin, right? But that might not affect mass amounts of people. It would a little bit, but I care deeply. And most great businesses and ideas and products and everything start with you helping your brother, your neighbor, your sister. So think creatively whenever you're coming up with good ideas about helping people. I have a friend right now who's like, we need to like do this thing at large, and I'm like trying to nudge him, just do it with 2 people. One of the best marketers, the guy that built Jim Rohn International, says, and I quote him all the time, if it doesn't work small, it's not going to work big. And a lot of people want to change the world, but aren't willing to, change their world at all.
I grew up with the quote, if it doesn't work at home, don't export it.
Yeah. Unless it's VA work, but yeah.
I just say in my own little corner of the world.
Do you have a corner office? A corner cubicle?
Depends on whether I'm behaving or not. If I get on their nerves, yes, they do move me.
Oh, okay. Well, think about it. Like the girl across your row, who I just remember as the girl who's seeking rest.
Judy.
Judy. So, like for you, how can you provide and add value? Because this is one of the things. Think number 3 in 178. Think about ways you can earn credibility with individuals. That is our key sentence. There are many ways you can do that by developing a good relationship with them, being honest and authentic, and developing trust. By holding yourself to a high standard and setting an example, by giving them the tools to do their job better, right? So like Judy, you might be like, hey, I developed a new software product in my spare time. Here it is. It's going to help make all the calls for you. Something like that. I'm giving an extreme example, but a tool.
Right.
By helping them to achieve their personal goals. Maybe she wants to take a vacation, and you can work on one of her shifts whenever she needs off to take a day off, right? As an example, by developing them as leaders. That is definitely permission-based. You cannot develop a leader unless they volunteer for that. FYI.
I crochet her animals so she's happy.
Good. I really wanted, I didn't write the rest of it, just solid. Solid ground. This to me was the sister chapter, the one Larry did. Solid ground. For our communities, people aren't going to buy into you unless you have the character and solid ground needed. Do y'all remember the chapter Solid Ground? I think it was chapter 6.
Yeah.
So to me, these 2 chapters were like really close. John Maxwell said respect and the Law of BuyIn were really close. And I know respect and Solid Ground were also really close as well. But to me, Solid Ground, like in today's world, think about how many people accused Donald Trump's character whenever he was running for office. And still today. They still accuse him of that, right? Because of the law of solid ground. It's because of our distrust in politicians as a whole. Ted Cruz, and they're trying to dig up dirt on him whenever he was running for office. A good stand-up Christian guy going from Texas.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I was like, everybody knows who Ted Cruz is. Nope, y'all are from Ohio. Y'all don't know who Ted Cruz is. Or Senator. Good.
I know a whole bunch of
I just
people
thought
are
it
that
was weird.
don't happen to be
He
in my
was weird?
state.
Yeah.
He was a little weird.
Okay.
I
That
agree.
wasn't just me.
I agree. He was a full-time politician, so they're a little weird. But regardless, I just really wanted to have that thought settle in. The more you can focus in on character and then influencing people with that character, the more people are going to want to buy into you. And then whatever vision you cast will be more likely to succeed. I don't know. Was it this one? Was it this? Was this the one he was talking about, Silicon Valley? It was right here, wasn't it? It was chapter.
Oh, about entrepreneurs trying to get their things funded.
Yeah, if they weren't interested in finding out what the entrepreneur vision was, they hadn't bought into the person, they'd
Yeah.
readily accept the
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah, once she
Right? Once she did her first company and succeeded, everybody was begging to give her money.
Yep.
like whatever
Go
she
make my
was
money
like,
grow.
like she like didn't even like say what it was, and they were like calling her up like, I want to give you millions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
$5 million or $1 million in 2 phone calls.
Mm.
That's an entrepreneur's dream right there. Instead of 6 months to probably raise $200,000 or less, especially way back then. That was a gob of money 20 years ago. Today in the tech world, it's $200,000 is a small amount. Not worth raising. I digress. Back to my point. Solid ground, character, success, track record, the law of respect. Larry, I was praising you in the solid ground that you taught.
Uh-huh.
Character. You said that was kind of the foundation of all leadership.
Yeah.
And if you notice, it is the solid ground that all these other laws are built on. I kind of look at the other ones as pillars, and the law of solid ground, respect, buy-in as like that thing that you build it on. So, I'm out of words. I'll shut up. Stop talking. Any closing remarks? Thoughts? Excitement? Did you learn anything? Okay, good.
Did you say, did I learn anything?
I did.
Oh, I say this to Debbie all the time. When I read a book, I think the book's neat. Every little chapter is cool. But, you know, to me though, and I'm not saying this in a bad way or nothing, but it's so common sense. And I think when you read it, it just brings out the common sense. I don't think it's difficult. You have to make an effort to do it, but it's not like you're trying to learn calculus or something. I don't
No,
think.
it's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you're 12, you can get it. You know. Yeah.
Exactly.
You'll have better life examples if you're older, but
Debbie, let me see here. Did you pick out which chapter you wanted to do?
I thought you said momentum.
Did I say
15.
momentum?
That's
Yes.
what you said last
Okay.
week.
Well, then
Is that
you
what
pick
you
you
wanted?
picked momentum. I guess. Good job.
he's good with being reminded of some details.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good
it's always
to
good.
have a good sport player. So, Mark Walker cannot do a speech presentation while we were gone to Florida because Sam and Nancy are gone to Florida as well. So when I'm gone, it'll still be just the regular folk that we have in the order. And Marissa can't do the law of priorities. So,
You'll
because...
have to find a different one sometime.
Yes. But you could switch with somebody if you wanted to. You can switch with me. You can take one of the other red ones. Mr. Gary, sir, would you like to give another presentation? The law of priorities.
Oh, you'd be good at that.
Oh, look, she bought in. She bought in.
She bought in. She knows the leader. Doesn't even have to say anything.
When is that?
3 weeks from now. It'll be February 15th. No, the one before that. So it'll be the 11th-ish.
All right.
Yeah, February 11th, I think. Can y'all believe it's already February?
Dude,
Almost.
it's ridiculous.
I know.
Almost 30.
I know.
I know. You're 40, John. What are you talking about? Where's the last 10 years go? I'm
I
kidding.
know,
man. I'm
right?
kidding.
You skip counts.
Now, who's doing next week?
Moi,
What about 16? Who's doing 16?
your wife.
Oh, no way. The law of the Big Mo. That's me.
Mo.
right.
And we got Larry, Mo, and Curly.
Curly.
So we're good. Maybe y'all can get together and do that one.
It's hilarious.
You can be Curly too. Both of y'all can be Curly.
Could be Curly.
Team Curly right here.
There we go.
All right. I'm going to pray and close us out. And all of this, you know, guys, all these principles about leadership and stuff, they're generic. You know, you could be a Muslim and apply the laws of leadership and have a better mosque. Mosque, you know, like they're generic. But us here in this building with these people and co-leaders, we're learning how can we serve Christ better. It's not by being more of a follower, it's by being more of a leader, right? Jesus was our example, so we can mimic him and lead others. To lead people to Christ, that's leadership. That's what we're supposed to be doing here. And it comes from closely following Jesus. So like, how can we closely follow the Holy Spirit, closely follow his word? I loved Pastor Jay's sermon this last Sunday about the word, its inerrancy, and how the closer we get to that tangible, textual Christ, that we can become more like him, learn to follow these laws, and lead others to Christ. So, just a little reminder. So, you like to hold my hand so we can pray? Okay, thanks. Gary, did you want to hold my hand? I'm kidding. Father, thank you for your love and your light in our life. We are humble before you, and thank you for John and John Maxwell and his salvation story, and how he's come to help so many people come to know you, and how he shares that as he speaks around the world and has influence with people and can lead them to you. And so thank you for him. Bless his ministry, bless his family, and all the other people that are working with him. And thank you for us having the opportunity to learn, to grow, to have mental sharpness and awareness, and be able to improve. And so we pray for that sanctification in our life. I pray for the health of every single person in this room, that you will heal up any diseases, as Psalm 102 says, and forgive us of our iniquities. And so we want to bless your name, God, and prosper and grow inside of your greenhouse, that we can abide with you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.